Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Break the Fake, where we debunk fake news and combat false narratives. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and let's get rolling. Lukashenko graces us once again with his profound insights. Welcome to Season 32, Episode 268 of his ongoing monologue. This time, he's decided to tackle global emissions with the piercing question: who produces the most emissions? The Anglo-Saxons? Where are they? They're not here. Where's Mr. Macron? It's almost charming how he lumps together the Anglo-Saxons with the French president, who, last time we checked, is decidedly not Anglo-Saxon. Now, he goes on to dismiss international discussions as mere talking shops, a succinct critique from someone who seems to prefer his own echo chamber over any form of meaningful dialogue. Perhaps he's puzzled why he's not the star of these global gatherings. After all, who wouldn't want a front row seat to his lectures? Now, it's amusing to see him point fingers at others while conveniently ignoring his own country's contributions to global emissions. Blames is always easier than self-reflection, isn't it? Maybe geography isn't his strong suit, or perhaps he's pioneering a new approach where facts are optional.
Отвратительно. Я сказал тезисно, потому что из-за багрового бюрократизма секретариата ООН это все бесполезно. Ну что за 3 минуты скажешь? Все отчитываются, какие великие, а стало еще хуже. Я же назвал 3 войны, которые загрязняют атмосферу. Хуситов там давят неизвестно за что. На Ближнем Востоке война, перспективы большие втягивания еще других стран. И в Украине война, это только крупная, а их более 50 этих конфликтов. Это загрязняет прежде всего атмосферу. Я говорил об этом в Дубае. И производители, кто больше всего производит? Англосаксы. Где они? Их нет. Где господин Макрон, который так пиарился на повестке этой? Парижское соглашение, где он? Его сегодня нет даже. Поэтому они наплевательски к этому относятся. Это просто говорильня очередная.
Now, one has to admire the consistency, though. Year after year, Lukashenko delivers these performances with the enthusiasm of a debut act. It's like he's stuck in a loop, repeating the same lines and expecting a standing ovation every time. Maybe it's time for a new scriptwriter or at least a fact-checker. In any case, his latest episode adds a touch of unintended humor to global politics. While the world focuses on collaboration and solutions, Lukashenko offers us a masterclass in deflection and oversimplification. Tune in next time to see what other pearls of wisdom he decides to share. Maria Zakharova, the ever-vigilant spokesperson of the Russian Foreign Ministry, has once again graced us with her unique interpretation of reality. According to her latest declaration, the Kyiv regime continues terror against the peaceful population of Russia. One can't help but marvel at the sheer audacity, or perhaps the creative storytelling that allows such a statement to be delivered with a straight face. Now, let's take a moment to unpack this, shall we? Russia, under the directive of Vladimir Putin, launches a full-scale invasion into Ukraine, complete with tanks, missiles, and unmarked troops. Ukrainian cities are shelled, civilians displaced, and a sovereign nation's border blatantly violated. Yet, in this upside-down narrative, it's Ukraine that's terrorizing Russia. It's akin to a schoolyard bully complaining that his victim had the nerve to bruise his knuckles with their face. The irony is almost palpable. The aggressor painting themselves as the victim is a classic move, but rarely is it executed with such a lack of subtlety. Does the Kremlin genuinely believe that the international community has a memory span of a goldfish? Or perhaps they think that repeating a falsehood ad nauseum will somehow transform it into reality. Moreover, labeling Ukraine's attempt to defend its own territory as terror is rich even by Kremlin standards. A nation exercising its right to self-defense against an unprovoked invasion is now considered terrorism. If that's the case, then perhaps dictionaries worldwide need a revision, preferably one published by Moscow's Ministry of Alternative Facts. And let's not overlook the mention of the peaceful population of Russia. You know, the same peaceful populace that is fed a steady diet of state-controlled propaganda, shielding them from any semblance of objective information. The same population that is told their sons and daughters are participating in training exercises while they're sent across the border.
Киевский режим продолжает террор против мирного населения России, подвергая гражданские объекты ежедневным артиллерийским обстрелам и атакам ударных беспилотников. 10 ноября текущего года с 0 часов до 8 часов утра московского времени ВСУ совершили массированный налет, в ходе которого было задействовано в общей сложности 84 беспилотника, в том числе в Московской области 34, Брянской 22, Орловской, Курской, Калужской областях по 7, Ростовской 3, Тульской и Белгородской по 2. 8 ноября этот день стал печальной датой для жителей Горловки. В результате атаки дрона «Камикадзе» ВСУ на служебный автомобиль работников электросетей погибли 2 энергетика. Тяжелое ранение получил водитель. Я хочу подчеркнуть, речь идет о гражданских. Из-за детонации не разорвавшегося кассетного боеприпаса погибла женщина. От ударов беспилотников ранения получили 2 мужчин. Всего с 8 по 11 ноября в ДНР ранено 10 человек. 9 ноября 1 человек погиб, 2 ранены в результате варварского обстрела укронацистами пункта временного размещения в Новой Каховке Херсонской области. С 8 по 12 ноября по Белгородской области боевики ВСУ выпустили по гражданской, еще раз подчеркну, гражданской инфраструктуре и жилым домам 231 боеприпас и 110 беспилотников. Погибло 2 человека, ранено 11. 9 ноября на въезде в село Старый Хутор в результате подрыва автомобиля на боеприпасе погиб мирный житель. Его жена получила множественные осколочные ранения.
So, who attacked whom here? The answer is as clear as day to anyone not wearing Kremlin-issue blinders. Ukraine didn't roll tanks into Moscow or annex parts of Russia under dubious pretenses. It didn't sponsor armed militants to destabilize Russian regions. The facts are stubborn things, and no amount of rhetorical gymnastics can flip the script. In a grand theater of international politics, Zakharova's statement adds a touch of dark comedy. They remind us that in some circles, reality is not an absolute, but a malleable concept, reshaped as needed to suit the narrative of the day. But despite the best efforts to distort the lens through which the world views this conflict, the fundamental truths remain unchanged. Actions speak louder than words, and the world has been watching. Russian propaganda never ceased to amaze. The peace-loving voices from Moscow are once again accusing the so-called Kyiv regime, the one that dared to defend itself against unprovoked aggression, of silencing truthful channels on social media. According to these ever-reliable sources, the Ukrainian Security Service, SBU, is gagging everyone who speaks out about Ukraine's leadership. They've conjured up figures claiming that thousands of Ukrainian accounts with a combined following of over 1 billion people have been blocked in just the past week. Yep, you heard that right, 1 billion. Because apparently these channels were so popular that it attracted an audience larger than the population of Europe, who knew that their insightful content had such global appeal.
Если вы хотите начать снимать TikTok, и не дай бог, вы хотите что-то говорить против наших законов и против нашей власти в Украине, будьте готовы к тому, что вам будут угрожать СБУ. Вы представляете, мне после моего последнего видео, где я говорила за украинский загранпаспорт, о том, что это не Украина дает пособие беженцам за границей, это не заслуга Украины, под моим видео в комментариях начали отмечать аккаунт СБУ Украины. Для того, чтобы мой профиль проверили, не работаю ли я на Россию. Что получается? Получается, что у нас, если ты хоть слово скажешь, что тебе что-то не нравится, конечно же, ты сразу работаешь на Россию.
It's almost touching how they believe their own hype. While dripping with venom and indignation, they conveniently overlook the irony of accusing others of censorship and propaganda. This coming from a regime that has turned information suppression and narrative control into an art form. So let's get this straight. The aggressor is playing the victim, the purveyor of disinformation is lamenting about truth being silenced, and math has taken a backseat, which hurts me as an Asian person. In the grand circus of Russian propaganda, it seems that the clowns are running the show and logic is first casualty. And with that, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.